Welcome to Dawn of a Story. This is more than a podcast. It's a place where we speak the truth, tell the stories that shape us, and honor the moments that made us who we are. I created the space because I believe storytelling is how we connect, how we heal, and how we remember who we are. Some stories are still being written. Some are full of laughter. Some have changed everything, but all of them matter. Whether it's my story or one of my guests, my hope is that you hear something that resonates, that reminds you that you are not alone and encourages you to tell your story too. So settle in because every story starts somewhere, and this one starts now. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Dawn of a Story. I'm your host, Dawn Pascal. I'm so very grateful you decided to spend your time with me and my guest this week, Cheri Wroblewski. Each episode, we explore a different theme, one inspired by the moments, experiences, and stories that shape who we are. And this week's theme is beauty from within. Today, we're talking about beauty, not just what we see on the surface. So often, beauty is defined by appearance, but what if it's actually a reflection of something deeper, our health, our habits, and the way we care for ourselves from the inside out? Sometimes understanding that connection can change not only how we see ourselves, but how we take care of the body we live in. So let me tell you a little about my guest. Cheri is an advanced master esthetician with more than 20 years experience helping people understand and care for their skin. After 2 decades in skincare, she returned to school to study nutritional therapy in order to better understand the connection between internal health, metabolism, and the way our bodies age. Today, Cheri is bringing together skincare, nutrition, and longevity, helping people care for their skin by supporting the health of the entire body. So without further ado, let's get started. Cheri, I'm so happy to see
Hi,
you.
Dawn. Same. So good to see you.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I was just telling my husband the last time I saw Dawn was in New York, probably 20 years ago. And we have remained friends, even though you were first my client.
Yes, absolutely. It was my first dip the toe into the let's get lash extensions, which has completely changed my life because I've been on and off wearing lash extensions since I met you. And it's just, I can say there's just something about it. I love them, but there's a lot of upkeep that comes with it, but it's definitely worth it. I'm so happy you're here. So let's get into it. So I know that you've been doing this for 20 plus years. What inspired you to go back to school and study nutritional therapy?
Well, first, I decided to go back to school just for myself. I just wanted to learn about the body. I wanted to learn how to eat properly. I wanted to learn how to take better care of myself. Then I started to think about it more from a business standpoint with my clients, because a lot of my clients were coming to me with the same issues, rosacea, acne, psoriasis, eczema. And once I started kind of diving deep into the world of nutrition and nutrient-dense diet and into the body, I started to see the correlation between obviously what you put into your body down to a cellular level and how that comes out of through your skin, it impacts every part of your skin, right? So I actually just did this because I wanted to go back to school because I thought this would be a really fun thing to do. And then now I'm kind of bringing it into my aesthetics world, into my business, because I'm seeing a lot of my clients come to me with skin issues. And before it used to be, I used to treat stuff topically. I used to do treatments, and teach people about skincare. And then I started to go, well, okay, that worked a little bit. And it's kind of like when you take medicine. Sometimes you feel, and I'm talking like Western medicine. I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, but things work for a while and then they stop working. And issues like rosacea, we're constantly combating it. And it got to a point now that I'm so happy I'm in school, I'm starting to see this connection where I'm like, okay, what are you putting inside your body? What are you doing? Tell me more about your lifestyle. So thankfully, I did this on a selfish little shindig just for myself. Now I'm actually bringing it into the world of aesthetics, and it's been great.
Yeah, and I totally bet because so many times what we do as business owners, and I know that I even applied this when I had my bakery, you do and make stuff or bring stuff to your clients that you like to do, right? Or
Yes.
tastes good to you or worked on you. So you're
Yeah.
using yourself as you continue to evolve and change and grow because we all are every single day, right? And I'm not, I don't really want to use the word age, but as our bodies change and things morph and happen, you use yourself as an example. So, what better as an example than yourself to then apply that to your customer base?
Absolutely. My clients can tell how passionate I am when I talk, so they love it.
Yeah. Well, and then you have testimony. Like, "Hey,
Yes.
XYZ happened to me. This is what I did."
Yes.
And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that every single thing will work the same for everybody, but when you
Correct.
start understanding what you put into yourself and look, your skin's the biggest organ. How could it not
Yes.
be ultimately affected by what you eat, right? And what you're
I mean,
exposed to.
yes, I mean, like every cell in your body requires nutrients to
Yep,
function. Healthy cells form healthy tissues form healthy organs. And like you said, your skin being the largest organ, it's no different.
right, right.
Uh,
So now that you're studying in school and applying, I would say, a new methodology to the way that you work and practice in business, how has your definition of beauty evolved? So it's not just the outside, but it's also what's coming through from the inside. So, how has your definition of beauty changed?
well, I have so many fun little definitions that I say to clients. It's changed because now I see it works down to a cellular level. It's not just surface anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I say fun things like stress management. It's not just a mental health strategy, it's a skincare strategy. I have these fun little things that I'm learning to say over time because I'm learning a lot about the foundations. My clients
Right.
probably think I'm really cheesy, but
No, but
it's important.
it totally makes sense, and I don't wanna say these become mantras, right? But in a way, it's
Yeah,
changing it's totally has changed your perspective. Sure, you can
yeah,
topically treat something, absolutely, but
sure.
there's nothing better than going to the root cause as to why that happened, right? Why
You
all
know,
of a sudden a client now has rosacea.
exactly.
Use something in particular.
It's fun because like I'll tell a client like microneedling stimulates collagen, but your body still needs adequate protein, zinc, copper, vitamin C. It needs still needs nutrients to build that collagen. So it's been fun because I'm looking at skin just a different and completely different way. And I think my clients appreciate that because most of my clients come to me for anti-aging, right? To age well. And I think a lot now from what I'm noticing with my clients, a lot of people want to learn more about their body.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I think we're way more in tune with understanding how the food industry has drastically changed, exceptionally more over the past, I'd say 5, 6 years, right? To the
Yes.
point where if you want to go off on a tangent, I want to build a greenhouse and I want to start growing my own vegetables. But anyway, we won't go there. So I think that people are more in tune with where the
Mm.
food's coming from, what they're eating, how they're sourcing themselves. How could you also not be in tune with how all of that is going to affect you in a more positive way?
Well, the healthier you are, the more resilient you are. And I feel like we've learned that through what we dealt with COVID. Well, bless everybody's souls, but people who've passed, we've learned basically the more healthier you are, the more resilient you are. What got me into this program with the NTA, they're amazing, by the way. We should probably put them in your footnotes
Okay.
because they are so happy I chose this program. But what made me decide on this program, because I was choosing between a few, and was a story from this woman who had I'm going off on another tangent, but
No,
she had
go.
gotten into a car accident, and she almost died. And
Right.
she talked about how before that, she started to work on her health. She really felt that it's possible she would have passed if it wasn't for her body being healthy. So
Right.
not only does being healthy obviously affect her skin, and that's why I'm here to talk today, but it also affects every other part of our lives. God forbid if something happens to you. So if you're the best, healthiest version of yourself, you can get through things that are traumatic like that on your body.
Right. Right. So you
Yeah.
mentioned that this journey started because of your own personal focus. So what did you
Yes.
begin to understand about your own body that shifted your perspective, maybe even more than just being in school and studying?
Well, I'm the happiest I've ever been
That's
because
good.
I
That's
feel
wonderful.
healthier.
Good.
What's that?
I said that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yay. Not many
Yes.
people go around saying that every single day.
I feel, well, 48, still perimenopausal. I, for years, was really tired.
Mhm.
Um, I was pescatarian for 3 years and I was exhausted. I had gone through depression and anxiety,
Wow.
and yes, and on lots of meds. And I started to feel like I need to change my life. And so I did other things like TMS, transcranial magnetic
Mhm,
stimulation, like
mhm.
60 times. And typically they say come in 30 times. I went 60. I went twice the amount of times that you need for the TMS because that's how bad I was. I was at such a horrible point in my life. And this was probably 3, 4 years ago. And I did ketamine infusions and I really wanted to get off my meds. And I did. I worked really hard. And then now that I've been working on my nutrition and eating healthy, more whole foods, nutrient dense foods, working on sleeping better, working on stress management, digestion, my blood sugar, I truly am in a good place mentally. Don't get me wrong. I have my days. I'm not perfect.
We
I
all do.
I slept in until 9 today and that was like heaven. And that's not even like late or like early or late for some people, but it's just I feel better. And I'm happy because I don't know if you've kind of experienced this, but at my age, I feel like when I hang out with my friends in their 40s and 50s and 60s, sometimes the conversation goes into this like, well, what's your ailment? How are you feeling? Oh, I'm having shoulder pain, joint pain.
Right.
And although it's fun and I'm so happy to connect with my friends and there's nothing wrong with talking about, we should all talk about our bodies. We should all be comfortable enough to express what's going on, not be embarrassed. But what do I want to say?
You don't want to focus on the negative.
Yeah, I don't want to focus on the negative, and I don't really want that to be a topic of my conversation that I'm having.
Right.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does make sense. And I also feel like sometimes when you speak of the ailment or you speak of the issue or you speak of the problem, let's just categorize them that way, that then that's what you put your focus to. And I'm not saying that you
Absolutely.
can't recognize, oh, my friend so and so, I'm really sorry that you are developing bursitis, God forbid. I mean, I know that that might be a
Right.
horrible example, but it doesn't mean that that's what you should be continuing to focus on. Let's focus on, well, what can you do? Maybe new movement, maybe new exercises, maybe a new pillow, maybe,
Right.
a new way of meditating. Maybe there's something else that you can do that will minimize the thought that that's what you're going to be doomed with, because it doesn't necessarily
Right.
mean that, right? If
No,
that's
and I feel like
the it.
I feel like I'm the perfect example of that because I was in such a horrible place. I kind of thought, oh, I'm gonna forever live with anxiety, and I still get anxiety from time to time, but it's not taking over my life. And, of course, I have days where life is hard and I just want to lay down in my bed and just be horizontal. But I feel like I'm the perfect example because I I was always tired and I did have joint pain all the time. So we can still heal. That doesn't mean just because you're feeling this way. And I just feel like at any point in your life, even if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you can still work on your health. I've seen a huge shift with changing my diet,
Mhm. Absolutely.
my sleep, all of it.
Yes, my latest thing that I have been informed of, let me put it that way, from the traditional Chinese medicine doctor that I started to see again. So I
Love
will,
that.
so I'll divert for 2 seconds. I
Yes.
am genetically predisposed to high cholesterol. I
Mhm.
don't eat dairy. I don't eat meat. I don't eat fried foods. Okay. I'm not saying that I don't dabble every once in a while, but there should be no reason why my cholesterol is where my cholesterol is. Now, sure, understandably, I do have some weight that I need to lose, and I know that that will help. But I also know that I am genetically predisposed on both sides, mom and dad. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I go to the doctor. Everything's great. Blood works wonderful. Sure, you need to lose a couple pounds. Yep, I know that. You should really go get your heart checked. Okay, great. So I go through the whole thing because my father did pass in 2020 and it was heart related. And
Sorry about that.
thank you. And now that we understand what he and our mom passed from, we're going to mitigate any of those issues from ever arising, in my life and in Susan's life,
Yeah.
right? So I go through the whole cardiac thing. Everything's wonderful and great. Okay. Zero calcium score, angiogram wonderful, EKG, et cetera, et cetera. Knock on wood, knock on wood. I'm going to put you on a statin because I don't like your cholesterol. And I was like, I really don't want to be on one. I came from a very non-medicating family. And I think that I might have shared that with you throughout the gazillion conversations that we've had, right? But that's really how we grew up. So my first inclination is to not go that route. It's to try to come up with a more alternative way. But I said, you know what? Let me do it. So I did it. Made me feel like CRAP, crap.
Yeah.
My joints were hurting. I had brain fog and I'm like, this is so not me. I'm not functioning the right way. I took myself off of it, went to the traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and I'm on a program with him right now. Where I was going with this in a very long-winded way, and I'm sorry,
I
is
love the long-winded way.
is he said, no more coffee for you, Dawn. And I said to him, why would you take the last joy of my life away from me? What are you doing? What do you mean? And he said,
Yeah.
your body has too much heat. So if you maybe developed a little bit of a rash on your arm and you don't know where that rash came from, he's like, it's too much heat in your body and you have to stop drinking coffee. Ah, there you
So
go.
how's that going?
It's not going well.
Yeah.
Because I'm still drinking coffee every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, because I really do want it,
Sure.
but to further our conversation, it's understanding what things can you remove from your life that are now causing maybe a skin issue or whatever that you never had before. And you're like, oh, snap. Now it's related to the coffee, but not fun.
Well, you know what I thought was so interesting I've learned through school is how we are all bio individuals. We are all as unique as fingerprints.
Yeah.
Although I do believe in um, genetic testing, obviously. That's how people find out about cancer. That's how people find out about you lost both your parents. So it's something you and Susan worry about. And I totally understand that. But what's so true too is that we are all as unique as a fingerprint. I love that you're seeing a Chinese doctor. I love them. I have one myself. Does he do the muscle testing and does he check your pulse to see about
Yes.
your organs?
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I don't know how they do it. It's magic.
Yeah, I know it is magic. Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, by
But
the way, I'm going to touch your wrist. Your liver is sluggish. Oh, what? What?
how?
How? How did you figure that out? But
I know.
when you start going through that, and you go several times and you have conversations about it, and it all just starts to make sense. Sure, of
Yes.
course. Sluggish liver, yes, of course.
Yes.
Produces cholesterol, of course. Like ding ding ding
Yes.
ding ding. It really just, yeah,
Yeah.
starts to make sense. Not to get into, my whole personal biology,
I,
but yeah, it makes sense.
I, I love it. I can talk about it for hours.
So, what do you see are some ways, maybe through your customers or even yourself, that our skin reflects what's happening internally that maybe you didn't notice or maybe your clients don't notice?
Um, Acne.
Yeah.
Okay. Stress is a huge factor. For example, I had a client in just a couple weeks ago. Beautiful girl, 30 years old. She said, I've never had acne in my life. And now that I know what I'm learning, now that I know what I know, the stuff that I'm learning, I'll forever be learning. But um, she said, I've never had acne before in my life. And I have seen this, but this just broke my heart because she's never experienced it. And here she has it all over her face. And the one thing I asked her was like, tell me about your life, like when this happened. Let's go back. I'm like a little detective now when I talk to my clients
Mhm.
because it's more than just like, okay, you have acne, let's just fix it. Let's just do some boosters and chemical peel or whatever. Um, I asked her, I said, let's go back to that point in your life. And she was like, yeah, I was very stressed out. And as I know, chronic stress, we all know, raises cortisol, which can impair skin barrier function. It increases inflammation, and that's what causes acne.
Wow.
So, yeah, that isn't that interesting?
That
There
is.
was that correlation, that connection.
Yeah.
So,
And you
yeah,
also made her reflect upon what happened or what is still happening, because then once you make that connection, then you could start to work on those other factors to stop that issue, to help stop
yes.
the manifestation of it.
Well, I think it makes you feel, you kind of go, okay, there's something I can connect it to.
Right.
Um, and I mean, we all want a reason, right? We want to kind of understand, we want an answer. So when you can kind of connect it to that point in your life when, oh, that makes sense. That was when I was the most stressed out I've ever been for whatever reason.
Right.
I think it helps them. And then hopefully in turn people can start looking at their lives differently, maybe trying to change um, their patterns or
Mhm.
trying to look into things that they can do to alleviate that.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
how has this whole journey changed the way you think about aging?
Instead of saying anti-aging, I try to say pro-aging
Yes,
because,
absolutely.
right? Because we're all aging every single day,
Right.
every day. Gravity always wins. There's nothing we,
That's right.
you know, just trying to ease into it. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about collagen inducing microneedling. I love talking about filler, and my dog's making noises, filler and Botox with my clients. And yeah, it's just made me look at aging just a little bit. I want to age gracefully. I'm not afraid of aging. I think that's the nice thing about getting into your late 40s. You kind of just start to accept because that's when you've noticed for years now your body changing, right?
Mhm.
You notice the skin sagging, you notice more wrinkles, hyperpigmentation's popping up, all the stuff that our silly asses did when we were in our early teens.
Right.
And it's kind of nice to get to a point where you're like, I just want to be the healthiest version of myself. I'm just lucky to be alive.
Right. Yeah, we all are. Right.
Right.
To be grateful every single day for what we have and just try to put our best foot forward and live each day as best as we can. And when you, I feel, approach your life like that, then it does show, because you're putting
Yes.
good food into your body, you're thinking good thoughts. What you say and what you think and what you say out loud is all connected to it's all good and it's all healthy. And how could you not see that reflected on your
Yes.
appearance?
Yes. I mean, I thought my life would get easier as I got older. Life is so much harder. Don't you feel like
Well, different.
different? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing this thing, Dawn, and it's so silly, but I've been waking up and saying what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just go off and sometimes it'll be like, I'm grateful for you, Paco, like just silly stuff. But because if you start your day off right, things like you don't raise your cortisol, like I was mentioning, then your body can go through the melatonin release that you need when
Right.
it's time to go to sleep. It's trying to start your day happy and healthy affects other things like your digestion.
Uh-huh.
If you're not digesting well, you're not getting the nutrient absorption your body need. You may not be getting the vitamins and the minerals your skin needs.
Right.
It's all very connected.
It's interesting. It's kind of funny that my name is Dawn, and I never really liked very early morning, which is kind of funny. I could literally stay up until 4 a.m., right? And then all of a sudden that life shifted and completely changed. So when I started the bakery and started my own business, I was literally
Home sweet home.
yes, I was literally up at the crack
Love
of
it.
dawn. Hello. And uh you know, and I became more in tune with taking a watch off my body, and I have not worn a watch since 2013. That was one thing. Secondly, stopped using the alarm clock. So when my body would want to naturally wake up, that's when I would wake up. And I'll be honest, do I go to sleep like a 5-year-old? Sure, absolutely. I'm in bed 8:30 sometimes,
I know. I
9.
look forward to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
9 o'clock. Sometimes I literally can't keep my eyes open past 9 o'clock. And my mother
Yeah.
always said to my sister and I growing up, the best beauty sleep are the hours before midnight. So, you may be out. We were in our 20s until 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Okay, fine. But just listen to me and remember that. And that's literally how I function now. I get up in the morning, probably still somewhere between 5 and 5:30 every day, still every day.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm trying.
I do not use an alarm clock. I
Yeah.
naturally wake up and I try to go to sleep as early as I can. So I'm really getting as much sleep as I can get. I'm not saying, you get a little older, you kind of get up at 3 o'clock. Okay, you
Right.
roll around sometimes. All right, maybe I'm a little warm.
Yeah.
Let me flip the pillow. And those are the
Yeah.
things that you've noticed that I have noticed that are different about my habits and my lifestyle. But I'm still sticking to that.
I try to tell people, I have so many friends that don't go to bed still till 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night.
No way.
Deep sleep is when the body's repair happens. It's, I mean, chronic poor sleep affects every part of your day.
Yeah, totally.
I do love a nice nap though too, but try not to get those in because then I can't get to bed by like my 10 o'clock that I like to get to bed.
That's right. God help you. It's a holiday and you're home and 2:30, 3 o'clock rolls around and it's like, ooh, nap. Mm-mm. Cannot get used to that. Cannot. I mean, I'd like to, one day maybe when I retire, but can't get used to that now. Absolutely not. Or I shouldn't. I should say I shouldn't get used to that. So, what does beauty from within mean to you?
Well, I still think I'm trying to learn all of that. Beauty from within, I think if it's more nutrient dense diet, what you put into your body, the gut skin connection, digestion, blood sugar. That's what that means. It's everything I'm learning. When you nourish your body from within, your skin has the building blocks that it needs to repair, protect, and thrive.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So before we go, I ask every guest the same question because I believe the stories we leave behind say so much about how we show up in the world. So tell me one story, Cheri, big or small, that you hope people remember you for. Ooh.
I hope that people remember me through love and light, feel like I've given everybody my all. I want them to look back and know that if they have come across me in my life, I want them to know that they meant something to me or that I cared about them, that I loved them. I think that is what I want people to remember me by.
Well, I can absolutely attest. And even though you said in the beginning that we haven't spoken to each other like this in conversation for many years, I still always, always fondly remember going to your
Same.
beautiful studio in Manhattan and just chatting with you for an hour plus. And that was like every 3 weeks I would see you and just connect with you. And I always knew that what you were providing was, to me, I felt the ultimate in services. You were always just fabulous.
Oh, I love what I do because I love connecting with people. I mean, how fun I get to talk to women all
Yeah.
day about love, life, relationships, just even mundane things. It's so fun to me. And
Yeah.
what I was telling my husband, what I loved about meeting you is I got to meet your sister too. And you both were so special. I spent more time with you than your sister. I think Susan came to me for just a little bit,
Right.
but I'm so happy that we became Facebook friends. And I feel like over the years, I've got to watch you and it's so lovely because you still feel connected to people, even though you haven't seen them in 20 years.
Right. And I was so
Yeah.
happy that you said yes when I reached out to you to be on the podcast, and
Thank
I had
you.
watched your evolution of what you're doing, right? And you're no longer in Manhattan, and you have a different lifestyle and home now. And I was just I was just really so happy that you were like, yeah, let's do it, and we finally are here talking to each other. So this is great.
Well, I feel blessed. Thank you for
Thank
asking me.
you. Oh, please, thank you for saying yes. I mean, we're
It
here and we had a great conversation. And
was wonderful.
thank you. And this is, I feel such a real connecting note to end on. So thank you for everything that you've shared. And I want to thank you for being part of the story today. And I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode of Dawn of a Story. If you heard something today that moved you, made you laugh, or made you think, share it with someone you love. Please like and subscribe to the show. And if you're feeling brave, I'd love to hear your story by commenting below. It helps other story lovers find us too. Please connect with Cheri. She can be reached at yourbeautynutritionist@gmail.com. I will also put that in the show notes. Until next time, keep listening, keep sharing, and keep telling your story. Thank you, Cheri. This was so
Thank
much
you.
fun. Thank you.
It was.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
you. Thank you.
Good to see you.